Hey, I'm Danny Ferrier, and today I'd love to talk about one of the main reasons why teams fail. So, I wonder if you have noticed that it's really hard to keep everybody in a team on the same page. And there's a couple of reasons for that. But one of the main reasons is that there is no framework, nothing for them to buy into, or a consciously created idea of why everyone's there. It's a really normal kind of experience that a lot of businesses have where they start doing the thing that they were always going to be doing, but they forget that it's important to create the framework for their team to get on board. Because what happens is an entrepreneur has an idea, they start a business, and the business is in their mind. And then as they build the team to help them with the business, they forget that they need to translate what's in their mind into a framework that's going to help the team stay on the same page and understand what they're there to achieve. The other major benefit of having all of your team members on the same page is it creates a real identity. It creates that point of difference between you and Joe Bloggs that lives down the road. So today we're going to be talking about the vision, mission, and values of your company, the framework that keeps your team on the same page. Now, I hear a lot that people are sort of waiting for clarity to show up to do their vision, mission, and values. And that's a common excuse that people tell themselves, oh, we're just a small business. We don't need that yet. But if you've got no vision, mission, and values in place, then you don't know what the purpose is of your business that is greater than just producing the thing. There's nothing for your clients and your customers to emotionally buy into. And the problem with waiting for clarity to show up is it just won't. If you think about a river, or if there's a pond with muddy water in it, that water stays muddy because the water is stagnant. But a river, once it starts to flow, all of the silt and everything gets washed down the river and the water runs clear. And it's the same thing with our business. We've got to make sure that we're taking action regardless of having all the information to put a vision, mission, and values in place, even if you're not 100% sure that's what you really want, because it needs to be a live document, an ever-evolving document. Just like you and me are growing every day, the same thing happens with a vision and mission and values and essentially the culture of a company, because you put the framework in place and then you review it every 6 months to a year to make sure that that is still the mission you're on and to make sure that you are still living those values all the time. And potentially there's some challenges that came up since you last did your vision, mission, and values, and you need to reassess and write down what is the new value now that you have this new challenge under your belt. So I trust that this is an important message for you to understand that vision, mission, and values is the framework that keeps teams on the same page so that they can't fail. And one of the major reasons why this helps your customers to connect with you is because they also want to know why you do what you do. And when your team members are looking for a job before you've hired them, they are also wondering who you are. What is the purpose of the company? What is the culture of the company? And they need to emotionally buy into this vision and mission that is greater than themselves. That is something that they're really on board with so that they can show up inspired and excited about helping you achieve your vision and mission. So when you are thinking about vision, mission, and values, it can seem like, just another thing to have to do for your business. But it's a time to get excited. It's a time to get curious. And if you're not sure what your vision and mission and values should be for your business, then reach out. I'll be more than happy to help you. The other part to this is the unicornification, your major point of difference. Why would somebody go to you versus someone down the road? You want to create a real identity for your business. For example, my values are fun, going against the status quo. I'm not detail-oriented person, so I would never have anything that was beige or boring. And people who know me know that those are my values. They meet me and they go, yeah. So as I'm building this company up, Danny Ferrier Coaching, I'm making sure that those values are being lived within my company, that my customers are getting an experience of that fun, outgoing version of me. And anyone I hire into my business will be onboarded with those values, with the expectation that this is how we do things here. That's what essentially a culture is, how we do things here. And remember that it's okay, whatever your values are. You don't need to be any way. It can be completely different to my values. And that's awesome. Because the more you know yourself and the more you can own who you are as a business owner and own who you are as a business, the stronger your point of difference is. And that gives your clients and your customers the main reason to come to you. And it also attracts the best fit for you. Blah, blah, blah. Lost my words. It attracts the best fit for employees wanting to work at your company, because they're super clear with how you do things and they can decide within themselves whether that's an environment that they want to be in. So let's get on to doing our mission, vision, and values, because that is something that is a really beautiful, it's a really beautiful stage for you to be at in your business when you really put a stake in the sand and you say, this is who we are now. Another part to this is a lot of companies or a lot of businesses are wasting time on things that really don't matter, like procrastinating on choosing the color for their branding or doing these really big, complex marketing strategies that really aren't going to make the biggest difference. The biggest difference is made when you have consistency throughout your culture and that your clients can connect to that. So I'd love to hear in the chat, what are you taking away from this video? What has been helpful so far that you can implement in your business? I'm also going to break down what vision, mission, and values are, just so that we're super clear exactly how I think about them. And maybe you've heard differently, and that's okay. But the way that I see the vision, what it is your why. It's why you get out of bed every day to do what you do. My why is to empower leaders and inspire greatness, because I feel that that is something that is incredibly important for the way that people show up in business, and not only in business, but also the way that they inspire their families and just to become great humans. The more great humans we have, the more impact we have, and that really lights up my soul. The other part to this is that your why is the thing that does get you out of bed. It's that spring in your step, and it should be the spring in your team's step as well. What quite often happens is the vision and mission will be created by the business owner and then sort of put in a drawer somewhere and not really talked about. But to bring this to life, your team member should be able to recite it. Your team member should be excited about it. And you can bring this to life in your 90-day meetings. You can bring this to life in your weekly catch-ups in different creative ways so that your team members know what is the purpose of them being there. There's a really beautiful story about they were painting the Sistine Chapel. There was two painters in Italy, and one of them said, oh no, what happened? There was somebody that went to this work site and they said to one of the painters, what are you doing? And he said, I'm painting the Sistine Chapel. And he wasn't that inspired. He wasn't that motivated. He was just painting. And he asked the other one, what are you doing? And he said, I'm creating the kingdom of God. Can you feel the difference there? How he was able to be more inspired by a greater vision. It wasn't just about the doing of the thing, but it was about how he felt connected to the mission that they were on, the vision of the kingdom of God. And it makes it so much more powerful for your team members. The next part to this is your mission. And your mission is how you achieve the why. So what it is specifically that you do for your clients and for your customers that is the mission that you're on. What are you doing differently? Why did you start this business? A lot of people were in a company that was doing something similar and they felt like there was a real lack. So what is that thing that you want to provide that no other companies are providing? Or maybe other companies are providing that, but your mission is slightly different and lights you up because you are on a mission to achieve it. In the 5 levels of leadership, John Maxwell talks about when you are on a mission, people follow you. If you've got no mission, you're just going for a walk. And I love that. I love that because it's so true. If you said to your kids, hey guys, we're just going to get in the car and we're going to go do some driving, they're not going to be that excited about it. But if you say, hey, we're on a mission to find some fish and chips today, they're going to be on board and they're going to be excited. But people forget that it's the same concept in business. Talk about your mission. Get really excited with your team. The next part to this is the values. And the values are the how you are being and behaving within your company. The values are what you truly stand for. Now, a lot of companies make these really boring, like integrity and respect. It's like, just be a good human. That should just be the basics, honestly. And your values really need to be usable language, words that your team are going to really want to show up for. So in the castle here at where I live, I run a community with 16 people, and one of our values is be a GC. Everyone in New Zealand knows what that means. And here we use it as a play on words. GC means good communicator. And it's a good way to say, hey, that was a GC thing to do, or hey, you're being a GC right now. And it's a fun, usable way for me to inspire people to not only be a good communicator, but to take responsibility. So it's a fun thing, easy to use, can throw it out there, can use it in a sentence. Those need to be your values. If you're interested, I have a list of incredibly inspiring values, and I'd be more than happy to share those with you. If you're thinking about developing your values with your team, then there's definitely some amazing wordsmithing that you can do to find the sentence that's just right, that you know that your team is going to love. The thing about values is that when we are creating a value, we're focusing in on certain types of behavior. And the great thing about this is if you've noticed any challenges within your team or any challenges within your industry that you want to mitigate, you can also create a value around it. So if you're noticing, for example, that people are not showing up on time, create a value around it. Punctuality is perfect, or punctuality is performing at a high level, or something that's going to help them to know you're setting up the expectation that punctuality is really valued here. There's a quote that states, what you focus on, you get, to the exclusion of everything else. And that's because our mind, our brain is accessing all this information all the time and distorting it because it just can't take in so much information. So when you have values in place, you are helping your team members to focus in on the behavior that you want to see more of. So I trust that this was a really good overview of how you can keep your team on the same page and not set yourself up for failure, but the opposite. Set yourself up for true and incredibly lasting success once you have that culture in place, those engaged team members, and the spiral will continue to go up as long as you as the leader are instigating that inspiring change. I'm Danny Ferrier. Bye for now.